Hello, Jack Toledano, all or none according to Jack, with your host, Jack Toledano. Right there, I said it twice. And tonight I have a special guest, Davey Cretin. Davey is my first guest on the series, as you can see behind me, 90-minute cassette tapes, best of cassette tapes. So I had a subject that I thought would be perfect for Davey. And Davey, you want to tell everybody about it?
It is the band Kansas. I should have taken my booklet out. Sorry, too much glare. There it is, their live album from 1994, Live at the Whiskey.
Oh, that's cool. You know, the only thing that's missing being from Kansas is Dorothy's house in that hurricane there. Or
Well,
that
it has stuff from their
tornado.
album covers in there, the previous album covers.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool. All right.
I'm going to take out my booklets now, like I should have.
All right. We are recording on the night of Memorial Day. It was a great day. I spent the week upstate New York and putting together other 90-minute cassettes, but I froze my ass off because it never got higher than 60. And I marched today in my local town's parade, and thank heavens the sun came out and it was 70 degrees, so it was nice. So that's why I put this
Excellent.
one in the sun shirt on that my daughter bought me from the Jersey Shore a year or two ago. So
And we should say thanks to all the servicemen and women who
yes,
have served our country for well over 200 years now.
yes,
So thank you very much for your service. It is appreciated.
yes. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. Uh, Actually, early May, I think I told Dave this while we were texting one day that I went down to I went to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. So if you are ever in the DC area and you need something to do, it is literally right behind the Lincoln Memorial. It is a beautiful, solemn place, and you will not be disappointed. So, except even talks about it in one of their songs. So there you go. So,
Well, that's because the Mark Tornillo is American
yep, yep.
from the
But
tri-state area, from T.T. Quick also many, many moons ago.
yep. So anyway, so to our subject, we are going to talk about our. We're each going to talk about our 90-minute cassette for the band Kansas. And while Davey was furiously finishing his notes earlier, I was on the phone with my mom and I told her about my project, and she's like, I said, Kansas, who? And I started singing songs to her. Uh, I said, all we are is dust in the nothing. Didn't know. The only song she knew was when I started singing Carry On Wayward Son. So that
Wow,
she knew.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And my late mother was a big fan of the song Dust in the Wind. She loved that song.
Nice. Okay. Well, I kind of bludgeoned my mother over the head with all my listening to Kiss over the years. So
It turned her off to a lot of rock music, probably.
probably. So any event, let's talk about your 90-minute cassette, Davey.
Okay, well, I started out by going through every album and making a list of my favorite songs. And I knew I would pick a lot of longer songs, the more proggy, expansive tracks. So I tried to be conservative, and my initial list had 30 songs on it. And I said, oh, there's no way this is going to fit on a 90-minute tape. So I ended up making cuts, cutting out a lot of amazing songs. And I went from 30 down to a little over a dozen, let's say. And I have hit 9 of their 15 studio records, not
Okay.
including Always Never the Same, because that was basically remakes with a few new songs. So I don't really consider that a studio record. So I hit 9 out of the 15 albums. And I'm going to start out with track number 1. Have to start the tape out with this song. 10-minute song written by Kerry Livgren, produced by Jeff Glicksman, from their second album, a gold record, by the way, here in America. Song for America, the title track of their second album.
Nice.
And this song, in a word, from 1975 is majestic. And that basically describes Kansas. Oh,
Yeah,
Jack, I have to interrupt myself and say, I'm going to guess that we're only going to have three songs in common. So let's see what happens at the end. I'm going to try to
that's a
keep
great
score.
idea. So, I'm to my audience. How many songs do you think we're going to cross over? So,
I'm
Davey
thinking
says
three.
three. I'm not going to even hazard a guess. I'm okay. I'm going to say about five, but
Okay. Ooh.
and
Let's
then
see.
we'll see what our viewers will guess. But before you go on to song number two, how close did you get to 90 minutes?
Oh, I didn't say that. And I had that written down here at the top of my notes. 89 minutes, 14 seconds.
Okay, I did 89 minutes 38 seconds.
Ooh, a little longer than I did.
Yeah.
Nice.
At the end, we're going to talk about our different methods for adding up hours and minutes. So,
Okay.
oh no, minutes and seconds rather. Yeah.
So, about this song, it was released in three different variations. This 10-minute version on the second album, on the Greatest Hits album from 1984, The Best of Kansas, which was the first Kansas record I ever purchased on vinyl with my own money. There's a 9-minute edit, so they chop out almost a minute. And then in 1975, when this came out, the label head, Don Kirshner, cut the song down from 10 minutes to just under 3 minutes. And listening to
Oh,
that version, it cuts out most of the instrumental passages. And there are these
oh,
sharp cuts, and it sounds as bad as Yes's Roundabout when they made that from an 8.5 minute song to a 3 minute song. So this is Prague with a capital P, this song. It's got extended instrumental passages, shifting time signatures, and this intense instrumental interplay between all the members of the band. It's got thoughtful lyrics. Kerry Livgren wrote the song when he was flying in a plane and just looking out the window over America. And he did this, in his own words, a synopsis of the history of our fine country,
nice.
of our young nation, I should say. Now, the
Okay.
keyboards and violin in this song lend it this huge symphonic feel, and Walsh and Steinhardt, they bring the vocal thunder. And you got to check out Dave Hope's bass playing on the song because he's high in the mix and he leads the charge here, and he does some nice contrapuntal bass runs as well. And Phil Ehart on the drums, phenomenal drummer, very underrated. You never hear about Phil Ehart on the drums. And he adds some emotional heft with his cymbal crashes and his powerful drum work, especially when they do the live version on the outro of the song. Amazing. So that's my first track, is Song for America. Moving on to track number two, I'm going to their 1979 album, Monolith. And I'm picking song one, side one, written by Kerry Livgren. This record is produced by the band. And it's On the Other Side is my second track. And this album went platinum back in the day. And I always felt that this emotional song was about Kerry Livgren's turn from the rock and roll lifestyle to right before he became a born again Christian. He's telling himself, turn around. The answers to what he seeks, they're on the other side. So this is a very emotional song. And it's quite possibly maybe even the first chink in the band's armor, because what happened was Dave Hope, the bass player, and Kerry Livgren were moving towards becoming born again Christians, and the rest of the band weren't embracing that ethos. So this was sort of the beginning of almost the end, and it's sort of the end of their classic period, their prog run, their first 6 studio records. But it's still a great song. And when Walsh hits that soaring chorus, turn around, it's on the other side, boom, it's so uplifting. Love that song. So my second track, the 6.5 minute On the Other Side. Moving on, track number 3, Miracles Out of Nowhere. Written by Kerry Livgren, produced by Jeff Glicksman, 6.5 minutes. And Kansas also co-produced this from their 4th album, Leftoverture, went 4 times platinum. This song is so powerful and so positive. I love this song. Plus, you get the great dual vocals of Steinhardt and Walsh. Again, their voices blend so well. But when Walsh sings, he just soars to spectacular heights in this song. The band are firing on all cylinders here. Steinhardt's violin work, just stunning on this song. Guitar player Rich Williams has some great shimmering acoustic guitar work. So don't sleep on his guitar work. And you get Livgren on synths, and it's just this phenomenal song. You get a great prog instrumental midsection with each instrument coming in separately, just adding to the whole stew and the whole melange of the song. And then at the end of the song, you get Ehart playing what must be some kind of kettle drums in the studio. And then you get this big gong, and you get the organ. Usually it's vocalist Steve Walsh plays organ. So you get this big gong, and you hear the gong slowly fading with the organ keys. Just a great song. Dave Hope on bass again on this song, phenomenal. Miracles Out of Nowhere is my third track. Moving on to my fourth track, because the third track just ends so intensely and just so amazingly. I just wanted to take it down a little. So my fourth song, I'm going to move into the 80s when Steve Morse from the Dixie Dregs was in Kansas, and they released a single from the Power album in 1986. They had been away for a few years. They came back with a revamped lineup written by Steve Walsh and Steve Morse, the 3-minute, 20-second All I Wanted. And this song, produced by Andrew Powell, it was a hit single because it hit number 75 in Canada, on the Canadian Adult Contemporary charts, number 10, the US Hot 100, number 19, so a top 20 single, US Adult Contemporary 14, the US Mainstream Rock chart, my personal favorite chart in Billboard magazine of all time. It was a number 10 hit. And oddly enough, in the UK, it hit number 187. Wow. Who knew they had a 200 singles list in the UK? I didn't know that. But it did chart in the UK, barely. So this is a melodic, mid-80s, mid-tempo rock song. But I think it's a stunningly simple song. You could sing along to it. It's very catchy. And bonus points because you get a really nice Steve Morse guitar solo. It's just a little too low in the mix. I wish it was louder. You could say the keyboard sounds that Walsh is playing all the keyboards here because Livgren isn't in the band at this point. The keyboard sounds might date it a little, but it's still a song I really enjoy. So just to take it down a little and to just mellow out after the heavy, intense prog of the ending of Miracles Out of Nowhere, All I Wanted is my fourth track. Moving on to my number 5 track, I'm going to go to the Mask album from 1975, their third album, Certified Gold, 6-minute song written by Kerry Livgren, Icarus, Born on Wings of Steel.
All right.
Gold album, and this is a riffy, heavy rock song. So it does fly just like Icarus did. Does it fly too close to the sun? No, it does not. Once again, you get great vocals. You get stellar instrumental interplay. And those are the main attractions here. And Livgren, for me, Kerry Livgren, is the best American progressive rock songwriter. That's my opinion on it. Dave Hope's bass, once again, burbles. It pops through the mix. You get Livgren and Williams on some stellar guitar crunch throughout the song. It's got really hard rock guitars for 1975. And this has been a fan favorite for decades. And the last thing I will mention, Walsh. Steve Walsh has some sterling organ playing on this song. So my number 5, Icarus, Born on Wings of Steel. Moving on to my number 6 song. And I've always wanted to do this on a mixtape, so I'm actually doing it here. Icarus Part 2 from their 2000 comeback album, Somewhere to Elsewhere, written by Kerry Livgren. And this is a reunion of the original band, the 6 big members, produced by Livgren, Ehart, and Williams. And it's the sequel that none of us Kansas fans ever knew we wanted. But this song is amazing, Icarus 2. Roman numeral 2, by the way. And the opening is so stirring with Livgren on all the keyboards. Walsh only sings on this album. He does not play keyboards. And you get Steinhardt back in the band and his beautiful violin work on this song. And Steve Walsh's voice is a tad weathered by the year 2000, but it still sounds good, especially in the studio. And you get this heavy, almost heavy metal, instrumental midsection, just this heavy guitar crunch coming in from Livgren and Williams. It's really good. It's like, whoa, Kansas could really rock. And they do throughout their career, but this is one of their heaviest rock moments. And the last minute of this song of Icarus 2 just simply soars to me. Once again, it's majestic, it's uplifting. You get that Heroes theme, this instrumental ending, which sounds like it could be from a movie or a TV show. And then the song quietly ends as it began. So Icarus 2 is my number 6 song. Number 7, moving on, 6.5-minute song written by Walsh and Livgren, produced by Jeff Glixman, from Point of No Return, Closet Chronicles. And this album was quadruple platinum, 4 times platinum in America. And this to me is a marvelous deep cut that shows off their daring prog side. Robbie Steinhardt on violin and vocals is excellent here. And I wrote the band Rock, Roll, and Rule on this song. And the song is an allegory about Howard Hughes. So it shows that the powerful have faults and no man is perfect. And this is just a stately, elegant number. So Closet Chronicles, sorry about that, is my number 7 song. Moving on to an album that many Kansas fans do not like, but I think there's some great songs on here. And I have the booklet to show. Kansas, In the Spirit of Things, from 1988. And I'm going to go to one of the last few songs on the album, song called Rainmaker, written by Steve Walsh, Steve Morse, and co-producer Bob Ezrin, whom
nice.
you know from Pink Floyd The Wall, from Kiss's Destroyer. One of my favorite producers, Bob Ezrin, because he just throws everything into an album.
Kiss music from The Elder.
See, and I love that record. That's one of my favorite Kiss records. But
wow.
Then I'm the big prog guy. But at any rate, the record's co-produced by Bob Ezrin, Greg Ladagny, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and Kansas drummer Phil Ehard, 1988. And to me, this is one of the deepest tracks on my list, Rainmaker. And a lot of people think this is a deeply flawed concept album, and I do agree with them. It's not a perfect concept record, like let's say maybe The Wall is, or stuff by The Who, but we're going off on a Grant Arthur tangent, or I am over here. So reeling it back into Kansas, I think there's some great songs on this album, and Rainmaker is one of them. Starts out very slow, and a lot of fans think that Steve Walsh sort of damaged his voice on this record, and Tim Derling is one of them. Our friend Tim Derling, who wrote this Kansas book, Let It Be Your Guide, which is a line from a song I already mentioned. So this is Tim Derling's Kansas book, and Tim thinks that Walsh may have blown out his voice doing a song on this record called House on Fire, which is not on my list, but just the way he shrieks and screams at the end, it hits such high notes that a lot of people think that was sort of the beginning of the end of Walsh's voice. Because when I started seeing Kansas in the 90s, I noticed that vocally he didn't sound the same as he did on the records before that.
Right.
But at any rate, this song, it starts out slowly. It has a dramatic build. Steve Morse ratchets up and builds the tension in this great instrumental midsection. And then you get let me read this so I get the name right, Reverend James Cleveland and the Southern California Community Choir on this song. Wow. So there's a choir on this mini epic of a song. And Walsh's voice, although maybe not perfect as it was in the 70s and earlier 80s, it's still so powerful. And it just shines through. And I love the ending of the song with the choir and Walsh doing a vocal vamp. So Rainmaker is my number 8 track. Moving on to number 9, my number 9 song is a hair under 8 minutes long, written by Livgren and Walsh from their debut gold album, simply entitled Kansas, produced by Wally Gold, and the song is Journey from Mariabron. And this, again, Prague with a capital P here, from 1974, and this song is based on Hermann Hesse's 1930 novel called Narcissus and Goldmund. And it tells the story of a young guy who wanted to be a monk. And then he meets a woman and what happens with them. And he decides he's changing his life from being a monk because he loves women too much So this is a very deep and thought-provoking song, and this is symphonic prog at its finest. And Walsh's vocal performance here in 74, to me, it's the highlight of their catalog. Just his vocal performance on the song is incredible, especially the final minute plus near the end of the song, where Walsh is harmonizing along with Livgren's synth solo. Gives me goosebumps every time I hear it, because just the way Livgren's playing the synth, and Walsh just he's so high. He's going, oh, although about 3 octaves higher than I just did it. Just an incredible ending. The denouement to the song is amazing. And then you get this huge synth swell by Kerry Livgren. I think he's using the knob. And he turns the knob, and it's just a cacophonous, great ending. Journey from Mariabron, my number 9 song. Moving on to 10, I'm sticking with the same album, the debut album. A song written only by Steve Walsh, produced by Wally Gold, their Gold debut album, 1974, 4 minutes, 17-second, Lonely Wind. And after the craziness of the prog intensity of Journey from Mariabron, I have to go to Lonely Wind as this ballad, just to take the energy down a little. And it's an elegant ballad with a stellar vocal, once again, from Steve Walsh. You get some mint bass punctuations from Dave Hope on this song. Steinhardt's violin is wonderful throughout, and Ehart doesn't overplay. He drums for the song. Excellent drummer, and he knows when to dial it back a little. This was a single in 74, but no chart action at all in 74. Yet 5 years later, when it was released from their great live album, 2 for the Show, there's the cover. And this is the 2 CD deluxe remastered version. I recommend. Incredible live album. And I'm not a huge live album fan, but this is great. You get 10 extra songs on disc 2. So definitely worth it. Seek this out, 2 for the Show. So when Lonely Wind was released in its live version in 79, it hit number 60 in America and number 62 in Canada. So Lonely Wind is track 10. Moving on to track 11, I'm going to, once again, the 2000 album, the reunion album, Somewhere to Elsewhere. Song written by Kerry Livgren, almost 9 minutes long. And this is definitely the deepest track on my list, Distant Vision. And I love this song. This was from their Magna Carta CD, Somewhere to Elsewhere. It's their only album on that label, CD on that label. And they were a prog label. And I got an advance copy of this album from my connection at Magna Carta Records back when I was working at Music Arcade right after Titus Oaks, Jack.
Oh, wow.
Because Jack and I met at Titus Oaks when I worked at that record store on Long Island many moons ago. But this was Music Arcade. We had moved over the Wantagh Parkway, which is a place I also lived near, one of my apartments back in the day. Right. And I got an advance copy of the CD, and this album is incredible. Any Kansas fan who doesn't know, even if you're a casual fan, Somewhere to Elsewhere, you got to check it out. It's a great record. And the amazing instrumentation on this song, you get excellent vocals from both Walsh and Steinhardt. And to me, this song really takes off halfway through, about the 4.5 minute mark, with this great instrumental section. You get amazing keyboard work, phenomenal violin playing, and they're leading the charge here. And then Robbie Steinhardt comes in on vocals, so underrated as a vocalist, by the way. At the 5 minute, 45-second mark, the melodies underpinning his vocals are incredible, so beautiful. And when he just, I get goosebumps when he sings and he holds the 3 words that end his little vocal section, by my side. Oh, soul stirring, lovely, phenomenal, wonderful. Distant Vision, track 11 on my mixtape. Moving on to the penultimate track, track number 12. I'm going to go back to In the Spirit of Things from 1988, the final song, 5.5 minutes long, The Bells of St. James, written once again by the 2 Steves, Walsh and Morse, co-produced by Ezrin Ladany and Ehart. And it's the last song on this flawed FLAWED, pardon my New York accent, on the flawed 1988 concept record. Brings the album to a conclusion. It's got an incredible catchy chorus from Steve Walsh. And to me, it's another unknown gem in their catalog. Get some nice power chords from Williams and Morse throughout the song. You get a sterling Steve Morse guitar solo too. Don't sleep on this song, Bells of St. James. I've seen them perform it live. Wonderful
Nice.
song. And I have to end my tape, track number 13, Lucky Number 13, 9.5 minute song, written by Kerry Livgren, vocals by Walsh and Robbie Steinhardt. They recorded this album in a studio in Louisiana in the Bayou. And drummer Phil Ehart has said that alligators and armadillos were walking in and out of the studio while they were recording.
Wow.
Who knew they had armadillos in Louisiana? Alligators I could see. I did not know about armadillos in Louisiana, but I guess I'm just a silly New Yorker. So from their third album, the Gold LP Mask, I'm ending my tape with the only Kansas song you could end a tape with, my favorite Kansas song, The Pinnacle. And to me, this is the pinnacle of their songwriting, of Kerry's songwriting. Love this song. Everyone shines on this song, especially Steve Walsh on vocals. You get, towards the end of the song, you get a nasty, sizzling 6-string guitar solo from Kerry Livgren. And there is performance footage from Don Kirshner's rock concert.
Nice.
You remember Don Kirshner?
Oh, yeah, very well, yeah.
This is Don Kirshner for Don Kirshner's rock concert. As a New Yorker, there's my impression of Don Kirshner. There's footage of Kansas doing the song. It's on YouTube. You got to check it out, from 1975. And I think Kerry's playing a gold top Les Paul for this snarling solo at the end of the song. Such an incredible song. I could only end my tape with The Pinnacle. So that's my final song.
Wow, that was quite a mouthful. Thank you for doing that, Dave.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me do all
problem
that.
at all. I mean, when I do these, I don't go into such detail, and I don't know, I don't profess to know Kansas as much as you do, or Tim Derling does, or a lot of other people. My friend Steve Fleck, who's a mutual friend of mine through Pete Pardo, he is a huge Kansas fan. In fact, he and I went and we ventured up to Hartford, Connecticut, and we saw Kansas and Yes together.
I saw that tour too.
Yeah, it was cool. But yeah, we had to go to Hartford because we weren't able to go to the Jones Beach show. But anyway,
I think that's where I saw the show.
Right. But anywho, so you mentioned Don Kirshner, another New York. Well, this is a New York legend, Ron Delsner. Does that name ring any bells for you?
Sure, he was a concert promoter, producer
Yes.
for years,
So,
70s and 80s.
So Patchogue Theater on June 4th, day before my birthday, there is going to be a documentary movie, and he's going to have a Q&A session afterwards. I'm thinking of going to that. And if I do, there will be an episode right here on All or Nada.
Nice.
But it should be very cool. I can't wait to see it. But I thought of that when you mentioned Don Kirshner. I still remember Ian Anderson and company doing Heavy Horses on Don, a promotional video for Heavy Horses on Don Kirshner's rock concert. So
yeah, back in 77 probably.
Right, 78, I think.
Oh, so close, darn it.
But there's so many great events. But anyway, that's very cool.
Another CD.
So now I'm going
a fast shot of the band in the back here.
Very nice. I'm not going to have as many details as Davey. Probably not that many. But what I can tell you is, so I have a mixture of some popular tracks and some deeper tracks. Now, yeah, I tried to get some deeper tracks in there, but first song, a song from the 80s off of Drastic Measures, I thought this was a good kickoff. Fight Fire with Fire, not to be confused with the song of the same name by Metallica, a band who I have yet to explore in this milieu. But second song off of Left Overture, this is a deeper track. What's on My Mind? Great tune. Third song, very deep track. I went to the Absence of Presence, their last studio album. I got two from that album. This first one, a 2 minute and 17 second instrumental called Propulsion One. So it really kind of fits in nicely into this jigsaw puzzle, which is my 90-minute Kansas tape. Song number 4, which is a song that's kind of one of those songs that are a mutual agreement between Mr. Pardo and me, going back to Left Overture for The Wall. 4 minutes, 47 seconds. Song number 5 is the first of our crossovers.
Oh.
I love this song. Title track from the second album, Song for America. Great, great tune. Next, I had to get some songs off of Point of No Return, which I guess you didn't get.
I got one. Just one.
What?
I just had one song from that album.
Okay. Which one was it again?
Closet Chronicles.
Okay. Okay. So none of that's not on here, but I got Paradox. 3 minutes, 50 seconds. Of course, the title track, Point of No Return. You know, because again, I am not as familiar with Kansas, but some of the other bands that you've seen, I've gone a lot deeper. But I couldn't really do that with Kansas. But this one is very deep. This is going back to the Absence of Presence for 6 minute, 21 second, Throwing Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, good song. So then I went to their, what album? 1986. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Their 10th album, Power. That song is Silhouettes in Disguise.
It's a good rocking song.
Yeah.
It's a very good song.
So number 10, and this is a song that I fell in love with right away as soon as I heard it. Their self-titled debut. This is another Pardo and mine crossover for the song Bellixes. Good tune. Really good tune. Number 11 was one of those songs that I sang to my mother and she didn't get it. Dust in the Wind. All we are is dust in the wind. I never heard that. So that's that. Song number 12, our second crossover, Journey from Mariabron.
Whoa.
Yes. Self-titled. Wait a second. Well, we'll get to it, but I hope I didn't miscount. So that's Journey from Mariabron, number 13. Child of Innocence off of Mosque. Number 14 off of Audio Visions, the song Loner. 2 minutes, 29 seconds. Good song, but you know what? I was running out of room and I had to take something relatively short. So that's a consideration that you have to take, for a project like this.
I like the way that Walsh starts that song. Yeah. Loner, and then the song just kicks in.
Right.
Cool track, short track, yeah.
Number 15, the whole world knows this one, Carry On Wayward Son, including my mother who's in her 80s. Yeah, I heard that one. I think this is another crossover of ours. This is off of Left Overture as well, Miracles Out of Nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 3. Okay, I got room for 2 more. Number 17 would go to the album Monolith for the song Away From You.
Oh, really deep track. Good one.
And then our finale, which is another crossover.
Darn
it. The same one that you said, You ended with the pinnacle.
The pin. Oh, nice.
So we had four crossovers.
Yep. Four. I was wrong. I said three.
You
Darn it.
said three, I said five, but so we
Right
came
in the middle.
right. Yeah.
And I should mention that three of your other songs are on my larger list, my initial 30 that I chopped down to
Oh, which
13.
one? Which one is that?
Oh my goodness. Oh, let me go over this. Oh, The Wall, definitely.
Okay.
Fight Fire with Fire.
Right.
Oh, and Throwing Mountains.
Okay. All right. So I did have four that didn't make the cut that were close. Lamplight Symphony, in Camudro, Hymn to the Alt Atman.
Atman, yeah. Him to
Yes.
the Atman.
Magnum Opus, which I think you mentioned.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh no? Okay. And then Got to Rock On.
They used to play that on rock radio here in New York. I remember hearing that song in the
Well,
early 80s.
so that was my 18 songs made up my Kansas 90 minutes.
And Got to Rock On is also on my larger list from Audio Vision's
Oh,
1980.
okay.
And that did get airplay back in the day.
Very nice. Okay. So that concludes our Kansas 90-minute cassettes. Tell us which ones you enjoyed. Tell us what songs you would have included that maybe we didn't include. And before we wrap up, I just want to hear from Davey. What do you have going on, Dave? What's good?
On my channel, I have my most recent video right now is one that you and I did together where we ranked the albums of Pennsylvania's own progressive metal band, Shadow Gallery.
Yes.
So check that
And
out on Cretin Classics. I'm also, once I'm done taping this, I'm going to make a video, a review of the John Anderson and the Band Geek show I just attended a couple of weeks back.
nice.
So
Okay.
look for that on my channel in early June. And I've got other shows coming up, some cool guests. So definitely check out Cretin Classics. And thanks for having me on, Jack.
Sure. Let me just add, people, go check out that ranking the albums. I mean, I put a lot of thought into that. Davey really knows the band. There's really not too many good ranking the albums of Shadow Gallery out there because they're just not very. They're not as well known a prog band as say Kansas or Yes, but you know what? They've got their niche, and people want to know about them. And you know what? Honestly, I think the only other video worthwhile to check out of Shadow Gallery is my buddy Pete Potter talking about it 4 or 5 years ago. But
Yep.
Evie and I have a very fresh perspective where we just recorded it, what, a month ago. And,
Yeah. And he is the godfather of YouTube. So,
yep. I gave that, let me tell you. So I have people that know me know I have a place upstate, and that's a 4.5 hour ride. So I gave Shadow Gallery a lot of spins between Long Island and exit 27 on the thruway. So
and they have some lengthy albums.
oh yeah,
CDs.
yep. Where we go into a lot of detail talking about it. So check it out. Also, things I have going on. So I'm going to keep pumping out these 90-minute cassettes. After I'm done with Davey, I'm going to record Chicago, the Terry Kath years. Then I'm going to do a band that I listened to out in my backyard today as I cleaned my freaking grill for the first time in 3 years. Man of Warriors. Love them.
Oh, your neighbors must love you for that.
Oh yeah, I think I get along really good with my neighbors, and they have young children. But it's funny how it coincided with me putting that on and them going in the house. All of a sudden, it got quiet. I don't know if it was that or me cursing when I couldn't get the one the one burner put back in properly, but I did get it fixed, so all good.
Death to false metal.
Yep. Others I have coming up. So I did Deep Purple. And now Deep Purple is a band that I'm very familiar with their deep tracks. I put something together. I was not happy with it. I thought that I took too many of their how would you say, their AM radio hits, or their FM hits, songs that were too well known. So I went back to the drawing board, and I ripped out 6 songs, and I put 6 deeper tracks in. I'm talking really uh, tracks that I would consider deep tracks, but deep tracks in plain sight.
And they're all from Slaves and Masters.
Yeah. No, there's one song from Slaves and Master. I'll give you that. When I saw them on that tour, I got to give Jolyn Turner a world of credit, because you know what? If Ian Gillan was still with the band, they never would have played Burn. That was freaking awesome.
One of my favorite Deep Purple songs.
Yes. For them to open the show with that was phenomenal. So
And
that's
I have a favorite song from that record too. So
okay. But anyway, so those are things that I have coming up. Actually, I have more Deep Purple related content coming up in 2 weeks, because there is an album that coincides with my birthday. So that I'm going. So yeah. Well, we'll talk about that off the air. I don't want to
okay.
up too much now, but yeah, but it is a favorite album of mine. So. I already worked on the Tia would be proud, because I've already worked on the thumbnail for it. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Wow. 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you get an idea that pops in your head, you go with it. So yeah. I was sitting there noodling as my wife was watching one of her programs. So there you have it. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on, Davey. And you know what? We'll talk soon. I hope everybody had a good and a safe Memorial Day. I actually said Happy Memorial Day to somebody on the parade route today, and he corrected me. He said it's a solemn day. It's not a happy day, but it's still a day that we remember those who fought for our freedoms, and thank you for that.
Definitely. Thanks.
Yeah. Jack Toledano, all or not according to Jack, for Davey Cretin. Have a good night, all.